Joseph Parker may very well have done the greatest call out I've ever seen. He may very well have done that because I've never. It was like a music video he did for Dillian Whyte to call Dillian Whyte out with Take That playing in the background. Not a big fan of Take That, never was. He played the song I Want You Back for Good. I had to endure listening to Gary Barlow. Not something I wish on many people. But yeah, Joe Parker calling out Dillian Whyte. Interesting. I'm not going to obviously play it because obviously Take That, you get copyrighted. But I might unsound it and just show you on screen some of the little snippets that he was doing in it. Interesting call out, to say the least, for Joseph Parker. Him against Dillian Whyte. Him against Dillian Whyte first time around. I remember when that fight was announced. And I think, if I remember correctly, they were getting ready to announce Dillian Whyte's opponent. And the rumor mill was it was actually going to be Luis Ortiz. That was the rumor. It was going to be Luis Ortiz. And I'd prepped myself for Ortiz. I remember going out for a drink with my friend at the time, and he's a big boxing fan as well. And me and him, when actually we're having a drink, we were talking, we were like, Ortiz versus Whyte, how's this going to go? And then we were kind of like taken aback. We were like, whoa, hang on a minute. Joseph Parker? Wasn't expecting that. So it was an interesting one. And the fight, that whole card though, do you remember that card? It was flipping brilliant. You had Dave Allen versus Nick Webb. That was really good. Katie Taylor fought on the card. Connor Ben rematched Cedric Payne. Now, Kell Brook was meant to fight on that card originally. He was meant to fight Brandon... can't remember his name, actually. He fought Jaime Munguia. Was it Brandon Adams or something like that? Or Brandon Cook. That was his name. He was meant to fight on the undercard. He didn't. Chisora fought Takam. That was a brilliant fight. Oh, that was a super fight. Super little fight. It was a really good card. I'm probably missing out fights as well that happened on the undercard as well, but it was a really good show. Absolutely brilliant. You would say that was probably Eddie Hearn at his peak with the UK boxing, because he hadn't even... This was just before he started with the Zone. So that was a really good show, and it culminated in a great fight. Joseph Parker looked levels above in the first and second round until the headbutt went in. And then it should not have been called a knockdown. Realistically, it wasn't a knockdown. It was a headbutt. Ian John Lewis, the referee, he has his bad moments, and that was one of them. And he called that a knockdown. And from then, it was kind of like Parker just wasn't himself. Got dropped legitimately in the ninth round with a good left hook, but then rallied late and was able to drop Dillian Whyte himself. It was a fantastic fight. It really, truly was. It was a brilliant fight. And I always said I wanted to see a rematch. And I always said about that fight, Joseph Parker lost that fight more than Dillian Whyte won it, because I always said that fight was there for Parker to win. He just needed to grab the bull by the horn, but he didn't. And that was at a time where Joe Parker really just couldn't do that. He seemed to struggle to get that fire in his belly, that killer instinct, everything. At that time, he was trained by Kevin Barry, and he just came across as always someone who'll come up just that little bit short. Lately, obviously, since he's been working with Andy Lee now for 3 years now, thereabouts. Actually, probably would be 3 years now. He's looked a lot better. He's had 2 brilliant wins, and they have been very good wins. Deontay Wilder, he's only the second man to beat Deontay Wilder after Tyson Fury. And obviously Zhilei Zhang picked up the WBO interim title. So he's riding the quest of a wave. The question now is that who does he fight? We thought it would be a rematch with Zhang, but obviously not. It seems that Zhang is going to fight Deontay Wilder. Pretty interesting fight, to be honest with you. But that leaves Parker kind of out in the wilderness. So is he going to rematch Joshua? What's he going to do? Seems to me he wants to rematch Dillian Whyte. And Dillian Whyte, for me, is there for the taking, I think. He didn't look... He got battered against Tyson Fury, stopped with an uppercut. He didn't look good against Jermaine Franklin. Although Jermaine Franklin, that win is even though he lost to Joshua, Jermaine Franklin's not a bad fighter. He's definitely not. So having a close fight with him, he was still buzzed in that fight. But yeah, I'll give you that. It wasn't as bad as it looked now, retrospectively. But then he goes and fights Christian Hammer in Castlebar. And from the footage we could see, it was... not ideal. Saying that, he probably only had a couple of weeks to prepare, so you weren't really going to expect too much out of him. But all those hard fights, the knockout losses, I think that's taking its toll on Dillian Whyte. And at this moment now, if they were to fight, I'd be making Joseph Parker favourite. In fact, I know Joseph Parker is not the biggest puncher at heavyweight, but I don't think he hurt Dillian Whyte back in 2018, and Dillian Whyte hadn't been brutally knocked out twice. So I think now you probably have a good chance that he does stop him. I'd be well keen to see that fight again. I really would. I've always felt Joseph Parker would win that. Even if you were talking like 2019, 2020, I always felt Joseph Parker would win that rematch. And now I don't just feel like he'll win it. I actually feel he's a very good chance of stopping Dillian Whyte if they did announce that fight next. Because it kind of has me thinking, well, what is the plan? You know, I was thinking if it was Frank Sanchez and Caballero fighting, which is a good fight. Joshua, we don't really know. Is he going to wait for the winner of Fury Usyk? What's he going to do? Is he going to look to challenge for a vacant title? I don't know. Whereas Joseph Parker, you're kind of like, well, if it's not Zhang, well, who do you fight? Logic would say you'd fight Joshua again because you're two top contenders. Why not just have a fight? You know, winner is going to be WBO interim champion. You can fight for a vacant title, or actually you be made full champion, or you can have a crack at the winner. So that was for me. That seemed logical. But no, apparently he's looking at going down the Dillian Whyte road. Dillian Whyte has fought in Saudi Arabia before. Fought Mario Zavac. Would the Saudis be willing? And I'm sure the Saudis, I mean, they've had Joseph Parker on the last 3 shows. I'm sure they're liking him. He keeps on winning. So maybe he will get a chance to have that rematch, avenge that loss. And yeah, look, let's see. Let's see. Fights for Joe Parker. You know, I'm not going to lie. I genuinely wouldn't necessarily be against seeing him rematching Joe Joyce because I still, although Joe Joyce didn't look amazing against Cash Ali, I I don't know. I'd still think he'd be pretty live against Joe Parker. I would. That was a fairly conclusive win when Joe Joyce fought Joe Parker. That would be an interesting rematch. But this one right here, I would say it'd probably be a better fight. Joe Parker against Dillian Whyte. That's the call out. Let's see what Dillian Whyte has to say. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think of the call out in of itself? It was again, you know, I mean, take that, Gary Barlow. People singing on the cars. It looked like he put a lot of effort into that. A lot of effort. That's some call out. I ain't never seen that. Well done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Peace.